JBN, we keep you informed. Gunmen light up police car in St. Elizabeth. A team of cops from the Locovia police station in St. Elizabeth yesterday survived a brazen gun attack by robbers who shot up their service vehicle before making their escape. The criminals had earlier held up and robbed a motorist of his vehicle in the neighboring parish of Manchester and then escaped a police dragnet before crossing over into St. Elizabeth, where they fired on a chasing police vehicle before ditching the stolen car. According to reports, shortly after 2 p.m., 3 men armed with guns went to Crosskeys, Manchester, where they held up a motorist and robbed him of his Nissan AD wagon motor car and sped away. The Manchester police sought to apprehend the men, but a vehicle matching the description of the stolen Nissan AD wagon breached the dragnet at high speed before crossing over into St. Elizabeth. Shortly after 4 p.m., the St. Elizabeth police, who were alerted, engaged in a high-speed chase in Content. The robbers opened fire at the police vehicle, riddling it with bullets. They subsequently escaped on foot in bushes. A police source said that despite the police service vehicle being badly damaged by the gunmen's bullets, none of the officers were injured. Woman charged of the allegedly beating man with a stone. A woman is scheduled to appear before the St. Catherine Parish Court to answer to the charges of unlawful wounding and assault occasioning actual bodily harm following an incident on Thursday, March 26. She is 30-year-old Stacey Alberga of Carless Drive, Gregory Park in St. Catherine. Police reports are that about 10:15 p.m., Alberga allegedly had a dispute with a man when she used a stone to hit him on the head, causing a wound that bled. He received multiple injuries and was taken to the hospital, where he was admitted for treatment. An investigation was launched and Alberga was pointed out to the police and subsequently charged. Nurse dies from hit-and-run car crash in St. Thomas. A nurse of the St. Thomas Infirmary died as a result of injuries she sustained in a motor vehicle crash along the Yallas Main Road in St. Thomas on the weekend. The deceased has been identified as 38-year-old Leonie Smith Wilson. Reports are that on Sunday at about 7:40 p.m. the nurse was among passengers in a white Toyota Probox motor car which was traveling along the Yallas Main Road. On approaching a section of the roadway, the vehicle was hit by a red Honda motor car. Smith Wilson and 2 other passengers in the Toyota Probox were taken to the hospital, where she succumbed to her injuries while being treated. The other injured persons were admitted for treatment. The police are now searching for the driver of the Honda motor car who fled the scene of the crash. 25-year-old man charged for double murder in Steertown, St. Anne. Police investigators have charged a St. Anne man in connection with the double murder of 2 men in the parish earlier this month. Charged with 2 counts of murder and illegal possession of firearm and ammunition is 25-year-old Tevin Bent, otherwise called Stormy, of Steertown, St. Anne. Bent was charged following the shooting deaths of 20-year-old Alex Williams and 18-year-old Garfield Cunningham at their home in Roaring River, also in Steertown, on Saturday, March 14. Reports are that at about 8:10 p.m. Williams and Cunningham were at home when a man entered the dwelling and opened fire, hitting them both. The police were summoned and the victims were taken to the hospital, where they were pronounced dead. Investigators commenced an intensive probe into the incident and arrested Bent on Monday, March 23. He was pointed out on an identification parade on Friday, March 27 and was subsequently charged by the police. Person of interest in shooting death of 9-year-old boy surrenders. One of 2 persons of interest in the shooting death of a minor and the injuring of 2 others in the Franco community of St. James has surrendered to the police. The Constabulary's Corporate Communications Unit, CCU, said Martino Kellier, otherwise called Tino, of Lime Tree Lane in the parish, turned himself into the Freeport police at about 3 p.m. yesterday in the company of his attorneys. Reports are that about 5 p.m. on Sunday, March 22, Kellier and Bubba had a dispute with another man in the community when a gun was brought into play. They subsequently opened gunfire at the man, hitting him, along with a 9-year-old boy and a 6-year-old girl who were in close proximity. The boy succumbed to his injuries, while the man and the girl were admitted in stable conditions. The police are now urging Bubba, whose last known address is Limetree Lane, Flanker, in the parish, to turn himself in by 6 p.m. today. DNA tests link accused serial rapist to another case. The police are reporting that the man accused of being a serial rapist in Portmore St. Catherine has been linked to another case through DNA test. The alleged rapist, who has been identified as 27-year-old Shadane Harris, has been in custody since last year. He has been charged with multiple counts of rape, as well as other crimes including grievous sexual assault, robbery with aggravation, housebreaking, burglary, and larceny committed in the St. Catherine South Police Division, which includes Portmore. According to the police, the latest charges of rape, robbery with aggravation, burglary, and grievous sexual assault are in relation to a December 2018 incident in which a woman was sexually assaulted in her home. Several items were also stolen from the home. The latest charges bring the total number of rape charges against him to 9, and detectives say they will be widening the scope of their investigations to include similar cases in other divisions. Government celebrates first COVID-19 patient recovery. Jamaica has recorded its first patient recovery as officials fight to contain the spread of the novel coronavirus disease, COVID-19, Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton has said. The patient, who was referred to as patient 5, is from St. Anne. The patient was discharged from hospital last evening, having registered 2 negative tests within 48 hours after becoming asymptomatic. The disclosure was made during a virtual press conference yesterday, during which Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced new measures to limit the spread of the infectious disease. The ministry is pleased to advise, too, that one of the patients, patient 5 from St. Anne, who tested positive for COVID-19, has now recovered and has been released from hospital. So I think we can celebrate our first fully recovered COVID-19 case, the minister said last evening. I want to also say on this point that it is very important that the population accepts that COVID-19 is a risk, is a disease, and a disease that can be treated. And those persons who have been unfortunate enough to have been affected, once they return to their community with the certification by the medical team that they are now well, that they should be incorporated, reintegrated, and not treated in any way, shape, or form in a discriminatory manner, he continued. The patient, who had a travel history from New York on March 10, 2020, was isolated at St. Ansby Hospital on March 17. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, 80% of people with COVID-19 recover without needing hospital treatment. COVID curfew. 7-night all-island lockdown starts tomorrow. Starting tomorrow, Jamaicans will be under an all-island curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. to slow down the spread of COVID-19, which has killed 1 person locally, with another 35 infected with the virus. It will last for 7 days. Members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force have been given clear instructions to enforce the stipulated restrictions. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who made the announcement yesterday evening at Jamaica House, said that restrictions would be imposed on public transportation and all movement except for persons working in the essential services. The curfew appears to coincide with an urgent call by the Jamaica Defence Force JDF to all its members on leave overseas to immediately contact their brigade. The message was posted on Twitter, but the JDF did not say why the soldiers should make immediate contact. In the meantime, the JDF also said that it would be suspending all recruitment until further advised. The Prime Minister said that special provisions will be made for persons who work in other critical sectors, such as the business process outsourcing sector. The categories of persons to be exempt will be published today in the Jamaica Gazette. We ask everyone to make the necessary arrangements in their daily affairs to ensure that they can be off the roads, Holness said during yesterday's digital press conference. The Prime Minister encouraged Jamaicans to obey the lawful orders of the police during the curfew. At the same time, Holness said that the police would increase their vigilance against people who continue to breach the orders. He observed that Jamaicans were still having parties and social gatherings, as well as funerals, apparently ignoring the threat of COVID-19, which has killed nearly 38,000 people and infected more than 780,000. Holness also warned against persons who disseminate fake news to create public mischief and cause panic in the society. Yesterday, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa McKenzie reported that the health worker who tested positive was a registered nurse. The nurse, who has been described as a diligent worker, is said to be doing well and is being given the best possible treatment. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.